There was a man in his 70s who made balloons. His name was Walter, and every morning he would wake up early to make sure the shop was ready for business. Now his balloons were special. They had faces on them. But this wasn't always the case, because it was only after meeting a certain someone that he started putting faces on his balloons. You see, people would come into his shop and say, "I want to buy a balloon." But Walter never had the heart to tell them that they weren't buying just a balloon, they were buying a memory. And so he kept making these balloons with faces of loved ones on them. And people would look at them and cry. One day, Walter was cleaning out the storage room when he found something he hadn't seen in years, an unopened letter. It was addressed to him, and the handwriting was familiar, but it was also shaky and fading. Walter opened the letter and began reading. "My dearest Walter, if you're reading this, then I am no longer here. Don't be sad though, my love, because I have something very important for you to do. Go outside and fill the sky with joy. Signed, Elena." Walter looked at the name and a single tear rolled down his cheek. He didn't know if he could still do that. After all, he was just an old man running a failing balloon shop. But maybe she was right. Maybe he did need to try. He took the letter out back and taped it to the wall above his work table. Then he started making a balloon. This was going to be his biggest one yet, a giant red sphere. He made it bigger and bigger, but it just wouldn't seem to inflate properly. No matter how much air he put into it, it stayed limp. Frustrated, he threw the balloon down. Why wasn't this working? Just then, a small voice said, "Mister, why don't your balloons have faces?" Walter turned around and saw a young boy looking at him curiously. "Well, son, it's because they're not meant to have faces. They're meant to be memories. But you look like you could use a nice balloon." The boy's eyes lit up. "Really? Can we make one together? Please, mister." Walter couldn't help but smile. "Of course, my boy. Let's make some magic." For a moment, everything was okay. They made the balloon and painted a face on it. They made it the biggest balloon Walter had ever made. Then they let the air out, folded up the balloon, and headed outside. Walter let go of the string, and the balloon floated away. He watched it go higher and higher, taking with it the memory of his beloved Elena. Suddenly, the sky darkened, and strong winds began to pick up. The balloon was being pulled off course. Walter grabbed the string, trying to bring it back. But no matter how hard he pulled, the wind was too strong. He felt tears welling up in his eyes. Was he really letting go of Elena again? Was she really just going to drift away forever? Then he remembered what the letter said. Fill the sky with joy. Maybe that's what he was supposed to do. Let go and trust that Elena would find a way to bring joy to others. So he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and let go. The balloon floated farther up into the clouds. Suddenly, the wind changed direction, and the balloon started heading toward a large building in the distance. As it got closer, Walter could see that it was a children's hospital. Kids were standing by the windows, waving at the balloon. One caught his eye. She was sitting in a bed with a blanket over her legs, but she was still waving at the balloon. He wondered if she knew where it was going. Just then, the balloon drifted through an open window and floated right into the hospital room where the girl was sitting. The other patients and their parents looked up and smiled. Some of them even started crying. The girl with the blanket over her legs called out to Walter, "Mister, come here, please." Walter hesitantly approached her. "What is it, little one?" The girl pointed to the balloon. "Can you put another face on it? Please, mister. I want to see my mum." Walter felt tears welling up in his eyes. Of course he wanted to help her, but how? He didn't know where her mother was, or even what she looked like. But then he noticed a picture on the bedside table. It was a photo of the girl with her mother. "Is this her, Elena?" he asked. The girl nodded. "Oh, Elena," Walter whispered. He grabbed some paint and began painting the balloon. Outside, the storm was raging, but inside, there was calm. The girl looked up at the balloon and smiled. "It's beautiful, mister. Thank you." Just then, the other patients started coughing. Their eyes were red and irritated. "I'm sorry, little ones," Walter said, "but it looks like the storm outside is making the air quality poor. We should probably get you some fresh air." He opened the window, the balloon floated back out, and the kids crowded by the window to watch it disappear into the storm. Suddenly, one of them shouted, "Look, it's coming back!" The balloon was floating right toward them, pushed along by the wind. Then it stopped. It hovered in front of the window. The kids gasped as the balloon deflated and revealed the face of the girl from earlier. "Mom," she whispered, reaching out to touch the balloon. Then it hit her. Mom must have been the one who sent the balloon to her. But how? How could Mom be here if she was in heaven? At that moment, Walter walked up to the window and handed the girl a piece of paper. On it was a message. "To my brave girl, I told you I would always be with you, didn't I? Well, I'm here now. Just look around you and you'll see that I'm in the sunshine, the clouds and the stars. But most of all, I'm in your heart. With all my love, always and forever, Mom." The girl looked up at the sky and smiled. "She's right," she said. "She's in the clouds." Then she turned to Walter and said, "Mister, can I ask you something?" "Of course, little one. Was my mom a balloon maker too?" Walter smiled. "Yes, she was. She was the best balloon maker in the world." After that, the girl fell asleep, and Walter stayed by the window, watching the storm clouds part and reveal a beautiful rainbow. Suddenly, he felt a small nudge on his shoulder. He turned around and saw the same boy from earlier, holding out a piece of paper. On it was a drawing of Walter, and the words, "Thank you for making me a balloon. You're the best balloon man in the world." Then in smaller handwriting, the words, "Elena told me I'm brave today." Walter felt tears welling up in his eyes. Elena was right. He was filling the sky with joy. As the sun set, Walter closed up shop and headed home. He felt exhausted, but in a good way. Maybe this whole thing was a sign. Maybe he should keep making balloons, not just because they were a good business, but because they made people happy. When he got home, he unpacked the paints and balloons from his cart. Then he sat down at his work table and started folding a new balloon. It was red, just like Elena's. He put a piece of paper inside and started drawing. He drew a young boy with curious eyes and a big smile. When he was done, he signed it, Leo. Then he blew up the balloon and tied the string around it. Finally, he was ready to start a new adventure. So that is the story of the balloon man and the boy who reminded him that joy is lighter than sorrow. If you enjoyed this short, please like and share it with your friends. Until next time, take care.